This radio show is a paid placement. Welcome to Wealth Michigan with the McIntoshes. I'm Mark Elliott. Mindy McIntosh, of course, the founder and president of McIntosh and Associates. Mindy started the company back in 2004. Husband Nolan joined the team in 2018 after his time in the PT athletic training world. The team is here to help you, though, when it comes to your retirement. Hey, Mindy, Nolan, when can I retire? Do I have enough? Will my money last as long as I do? Will my loved ones be okay if something happens to me? Really big questions, but at the end of the day, you just want to know if we retire, am I or are we going to be okay? That's really what you want to know. Well, the team at McIntosh & Associates are here to help. They don't know if they can, though, until you reach out. 877-222-8849. We'll give you that number throughout the program. No cost, no obligation to chat with the team. They're here to help if they can. They just don't know yet until you've chatted. 877-222-8849. And, of course, there's a lot of great information on the website, wealthmichigan.com. wealthmichigan.com. So, a lot going on, Mindy, in the world right now, a lot of moving parts. What's the big story right now? What are people thinking about that are either getting ready to retire or already retired?
Well, the biggest thing that we're hearing right now is people that are looking to retire very soon, is they're just wondering, oh man, I was thinking I was going to retire this year, but with everything that I'm seeing happen in the market and inflation and all this buzz around tax rates increasing, can I still do it? Should I still do it? Do I need to wait? And how might that affect my future costs of maybe what they've started to plan for or maybe haven't yet, from a standpoint of what type of income are they going to need in retirement? So it's so many things that we talk about here of timing. Can they still retire essentially within the next 6 months as planned in their mind, or do we need to go an alternate course? And, we always come back to having a plan and setting a plan, not setting a plan today to retire in a month, but to, evolve and plan as early as possible and continue to make the changes and walk alongside us as we, walk together to make sure that we can say, sure, we realize this change has happened, but we foresaw it coming and this is how we planned and prepared for it. So that's the biggest thing. People are just more worried, a little uneasy about what they're seeing happening in their market accounts, especially right now, and how we can help to be instrumental and make some changes there for them.
And Nolan, I know that you are really a big believer in letting Washington and Wall Street dictate how and when you retire, right?
I ask clients when they come in, are you into charitable giving? And they look at me kind of funny and they're like, well, yeah, we like to give to church. We like to give to, our grandkids and things. And I said, well, if you have a lot of money in pre-tax, then, you're going to be into charitable giving because you're going to give a lot to the government. So it's one of those things that we always look at. There's, a lot of people, and Mindy just talk about market risk, but why are we not thinking about legislative risk? It's coming, right? I mean, we know it's coming. We just don't know what that means yet. So we try and, look at it from that perspective, is that from a market risk standpoint, some people freeze and they don't know what to do. We think it's a possible outcome where we have some opportunities to take advantage of not only, where the market is today, but also take opportunity to take away some of that legislative risk. So we know that that's something that, we can help give some control back, and that's a big deal. I think when people go to bed at night and they understand that tomorrow they can wake up and not have to worry what they're going to do with taxes to their retirement, man, that's a lot of comfort. That gives me a lot of comfort to be able to work with our clients and be able to give them some of that confidence back in their retirement plan. If you guys even want to do it simple, if you're listening, I mean, it's very simple for us. We actually even have it on our website where you can look at what your tax bill will be in retirement. You go to wealthmichigan.com. We have a very simple tool there. It takes you 15 minutes to just look at that, and then we can sit down and discuss, what would be the plan. It's one thing to know what your tax bill is going to be, but it's another thing to, how do we walk through that and maybe give you less of a tax bill possibly in retirement. Or give us a call, 877-222-8849.
Glad you're with us today for Wealth Michigan with the McIntoshes, Mindy and Nolan. I'm Mark Elliott. Mindy, one of the challenges, and you guys are a long way from being empty nesters. So you're 3. Naomi's the youngest. She 7 or 8? 7 right now?
Just turned 8. Yeah.
Just turned 8 in April, yeah. So you're a long way from being an empty nester. But there's a lot of research. There's always research, it seems. The Center for Retirement Research at Boston College says empty nesters are not saving more after retirement after the kids have left. And that was the plan. The survey found empty nesters are not paying down their mortgages. They're not paying down debt any faster than they did during their working years. What they're doing, though, is they are actually cutting back on work hours wants their children out of the house and are taking more leisure time. So they're not putting money away. Plus, you throw in inflation, price of gas, price of the grocery store. It's a little bit more of a challenge to save, whether you're an empty nester or not, would be my guess right now, right?
Oh, you bet. I mean, when we take a look at, paying off debt, taking a look at paying off your home, paying off colleges, how does it actually look when you're helping your children do that? And then all of a sudden they leave the home and we don't know this, right? So we're still in the middle of this as far as how things are working and accumulating and growing, as far as maybe family size, maybe even just events and sports and such. And then all of a sudden we see clients come in that they're just like you said, oh, well, we have more time now and we're going out to dinner and, I kind of cut back my hours at work. And so instead of accumulating so strongly to that retirement journey, they're living more in the moment, living more for today and saying, instead of deferring that to when we actually retire in the future, they're spending it now instead of waiting. And it's just, we're seeing that since COVID, really, when we saw that transition changing, just for some of the folks that we visit with, where others, are actually, even some clients in earlier this week, they talked about, hey, we're putting our max away into the 401k Roth. We realize that we want to be able to contribute as much as possible. We have 2 years left to go. And then they want to really let that retirement nest egg be there for them to do their goals that they have in retirement, some additional travel. They want to do more gardening and just be able to be comfortable so they don't have to worry about, oh no, do I need to postpone my retirement because I might outlive my assets. So it's all the positioning in what we call your Dream Focus Wealth Plan of what is your why, right? So we start with that. Why would you want to come in and talk? What do we need to solve for you? Do you have anything on your mind? If you do, great, we focus there first. And if not, we start to help you and cultivate the things that we need to walk through together, whether it is saving more or taking a look at your expenses, saving more into the investments too, or, maybe sometimes I need to take a summer picnic instead of that dinner out, right?
Nolan's going for the dinner out, or is Nolan going for the picnic?
Oh, I love picnics.
Okay.
I like it.
Okay, great. Yeah. 877-222-8849 if you'd like to chat with the team at McIntosh & Associates. They are here to help, and everybody's situation is different. And that dream-focused wealth plan that Mindy mentioned, everybody's is different. There's different income needs. So it's income, investments, taxes, health care, legacy, estate planning, Social Security's in the income part, Medicare's in the health care part. And everybody's situation and needs are different. Mindy and Nolan have sat down with people that have over $1 million, can't retire. Their lifestyle is too extravagant. Their income will not last. And sat down with people that have $200,000, $250,000 that are good to go. And it's about lifestyle. It's about what do you need. So it's not really about the big pile of money. It's how much do you need month after month and can you create it? And that's what Mindy and the team and Nolan are here to do, help you figure out your retirement strategy. 877-222-8849. And Nolan, if we are a little bit behind, there are different rules and regulations in the 401k world, in the IRA world. Once you hit 50, you can start putting a little more money away as well. And I don't know if we really want to put it into more tax-deferred tools. So there's other options, but there are options when you hit the age of 50, right?
Plenty of options there, and it depends on the situation. So a lot of people, we kind of make blanket statements on this, but it really is individualized when we meet with our clients on where we should go. Part of it, is, what is the employer contribution there? If they're not matching, then maybe we look at a different strategy than putting it into 401k, or even Roth 401k for that matter. Maybe we do an outside Roth. Maybe we do some other things from a tax-free benefit that we could use later in an indexing tool, a fixed index universal life policy. So there's a lot of different options from that, but we do get some catch-up allowances, and a lot of people don't realize that. So if you're doing an outside IRA or Roth IRA, then you get an extra $1,000. So instead of $6,000, you get $7,000 you can contribute to that. And then in your 401k plans, 457s, whatever it may be, you get $6,000. So right now, if you're under 50, you get around $20,000, and then you can catch up allowance up to $26,000. So that's a really nice tool that you can use for that to be able to catch up and maybe, hopefully, get some of those funds that you need in retirement. So there's a lot of different strategies that we can use. And again, it's not always, like I said, straightforward that we just dump more money into your 401k or your IRA. So it'd be one of those things that we'd have to sit down and look at the overall plan to give us, an idea of what the best suggestion would be for you. So 877-222-8849 for some of those possible different strategies that we'd want to look at with you.
Yeah, everybody's situation is different. Mindy and Nolan sit down with you, and it starts with a conversation. right? The discovery meeting is where the Dream Focused Wealth Plan starts. Discovery meeting is to find out about your hopes, your dreams, your bucket list things. What do you want to do? And then say, okay, well, where's your income going to come from? How much do you need? And then how do we have increasing income down the line in retirement? Because we know even if inflation's not over 8%, if it's 2 or 3, things will still cost more, right, in the future. So you have to have an increasing income strategy. Investment strategies. Are you taking too much risk? Not enough. The right amount. Everybody's situation is different there. Tax efficient strategies. We know taxes are changing unless Congress changes the goal of what they did in 2018. The tax brackets and rates finish in 2025, and they go back to 17 rates and brackets in 2026. That's a pretty big increase that a lot of people will see there. Health and long-term care planning. We don't know. We hope our health's good, but there's no guarantees. Legacy and estate planning, Social Security, Medicare. There's a lot of moving parts. As Nolan said, it's 877-222-8849. 877-222-8849. All right, hey, we got a lot to get to with Mindy and Nolan. This is Wealth Michigan with the McIntoshes. Back right after this.
According to the U.S. debt clock, in the time you hear this commercial, our nation's debt will go up by $1.5 million. That's $2 billion a day, $15 billion a week. Right now, our debt is more than $30 trillion and climbing fast. The question is, how do we pay it off? The answer is increasing taxes. Now, think about your retirement accounts. Do you want to pay taxes on some of that money now, when rates are historically low, or later, when rates are potentially higher? Whether you should pay taxes now or in retirement depends on a lot of things. Mindy and Nolan McIntosh and the team at McIntosh & Associates know what to look for. Mindy and Nolan can help you create a plan so your retirement is as tax efficient as possible. Call 877-222-8849 to set up a visit with Mindy and Nolan McIntosh and McIntosh & Associates. That's 877-222-8849. Firm offers insurance services and may not give tax advice. Investment advisory services offered only by duly registered individuals through AE Wealth Management, LLC.
Get started today to develop your own dream-focused wealth plan with the team at McIntosh & Associates. Schedule a complimentary first visit today. Call 877-222-8849.
Glad you're with us today for Wealth Michigan with Mindy and Nolan. This is Wealth Michigan with the McIntoshes of McIntosh & Associates. Find out more on the website, wealthmichigan.com, wealthmichigan.com. They can help you in the investment world. They can help you in the insurance world. Hey, I need some safety, but I also want some growth. There's a lot of options. There are a lot of things that we don't really know about. We've never retired before. Mindy and Nolan have helped a lot of people. Mindy started the company in 2004, and they understand situations, understand mistakes that people make, and maybe can help us avoid some. Certainly. Don't want to retire and then go 3 years later, that was a bad decision. I better go back and get another job. If you want to go back to work, great, but we want it to be your choice, not because you have to, because you don't have the right amount of money. So the idea is have a plan. The strategy will always change because things in your life change. So the plan, the Dream Focused Wealth Plan, will adjust with you. So that's the idea. It's not written in stone. We've got all those pillars we talk about all the time, but they're going to change when things in your life change. 877-222-8849 to learn more. 877-222-8849. And Mindy, there is a lot going on. There's no question. You think about, okay, inflation. We've got rising prices of the gas tank. The grocery store costs more. There's just a lot of moving parts. But when it comes to, and you've been doing this since 2004, so what are the 3 areas that we really cannot afford to overlook when it comes to retirement planning?
The 3 top areas that we're hearing more than ever from folks, and just it's such a solid foundation core of, of the holistic plan that we do in their Dream Focused Wealth Plan, would be income for sure. Where is current income now? How does that transition when they're going into retirement, right? So more into a distribution phase of withdrawal orders and timing Social Security. Number 2, I'd say, is definitely healthcare. Cost of it currently, health, long-term care. That's a big component, and big inflation and even changes in health as our future moves forward as we age. And taxes, not only tax situation today, which is very good, might not seem like it, but what we're seeing as far as tax hikes, as we see the current tax bill sunset, and where is that going to lead you to, especially when you're going to withdraw that income later from these pre-tax accounts. So those would be the top 3.
So we're going to talk about all 3 of those: income, healthcare, long-term care, and taxes. And why are they important? Well, I think we all get it. You really can't retire without income. You need to have income to be able to retire, but people need different amounts of income, monthly income, and so forth. So we're going to get into that. But Nolan, let's say we're feeling a little overwhelmed by retirement. I guess what can we do? We don't really know what we should be doing. So many people go it alone in this area. And since 2009, I mean, your 401k should have been rolling along till we hit the pandemic, but that was a short bump in the road. And then 2022 hits and it gets a little bit bumpier again. So a lot of people kind of say, well, I look at my 401k, how it grew for a decade. But then they get a little nervous when the markets bounce around a little bit. What should we be doing right now for heading into retirement? I don't know. When do you think is the perfect time to come in? Is it a week out, a month out, a year out, 5 years out, 10 years out? When's a good time to come in?
Well, anytime.
The
right?
day before?
I mean, yeah,
Time is now.
Time is now. I mean, it is crazy. I think we even said it before. People worry more about a 2-week vacation than they do their own retirement plan. So, and we look at it from this perspective. I'm not an electrician. I'm not a plumber. And most of the time, if I try and do it myself, guess what? Mindy gets mad at me because it costs me more money because not only did I go and buy the product I needed to buy, I probably ruined it, and then I still got to call the person to come in and fix it. So you don't get that chance, though, in retirement. If you screw up, you're done. We just had clients in yesterday, and they're like, we have no idea. And they used the word ignorant. I said, you guys are not ignorant. This is just not your wheelhouse. This isn't what it's planned for. This is why Mindy and I do what we do, and we love what we do. So the point being, timing is critical if it's 20 years out even, right? So how do we help walk through those stages and help our clients get to where they're at and to where they're comfortable through the whole process? I think part of the reason why we love what we're doing is because you take the hands off the wheel, you put it on autopilot, and let us be able to steer and navigate to where you're going. And there's a lot of different ways, right? From New York to LA, you can get there by train, you can get there by bus, you can get there by airplane. What's the quickest? Well, sometimes it's airplane, sometimes it's the train, sometimes it's by vehicle, just depending on the current situation. So that's our job, is to navigate and say, what should we be taking? What vehicle should we be taking to get to our final destination? And so our job is to help walk through that, and that's why, in our opinion, it's priceless, in our opinion, on what we can do for our clients, because we know what we're doing and we know what we should be doing. A lot of times, people think they need to know product-specific things and all the ins and outs, and that's not true. They just need to know what the plan is. Mindy and I's job is to be able to pick the products that's going to get you there the best.
So, Mindy, you think about it. Fidelity, there's a lot of people that do studies. Fidelity always has a lot. They've got some in healthcare, and we'll talk about in the next segment. But they also talk about, okay, well, what's the ideal salary and how much you should have saved by an age? And so at the age of 50, you should have 6 times your salary saved. By the age of 60, 8 times your salary saved. By the time you're 67, 10 times your salary saved. But I don't buy all that because everybody's situation is different. How do we know if we've saved enough to retire? Because I would imagine at 67, if you have 10 times your salary, I would think you're great, but it might not be enough for some, and it might be way too much for others. How do we figure that number out? I suppose it's more about our monthly income, how much can we create, than it is about the total number of dollars we have.
It is, and it just really depends, too, on what is your lifestyle like, right? So as folks come in, how much are you actually spending and budgeting for every month? Is there still extra debt load you have? Or are you really heavy in the bank? Did you just sell a property or a home or some farmland? So what do we have as far as tax coding, too, in their investments? Is most of it all pre-tax and 401ks and 403bs and such? Or do you have a bunch of tax-free Roth type of accounts? So that all is factors as well to what's actually going to happen when they retire. Most folks are not receiving a pension anymore when they retire, just the option of how to time their Social Security. And most are not living solely on Social Security. That is not enough income to solve what we call their guarantee needs, so they're not going to run out at age 80. So what we take a look at is all of these factors. How much do we actually need to make sure that we're drawing on a monthly basis, net of taxes, to sustain a retirement journey that you're not going to outlive your money? So a lot of times we'll help you. Sometimes it's bank funds, but mostly it's usually some investment dollars, that were in, let's say, a 401k, 403b and such. We move that out to solve for your income, to create your own guaranteed income stream, your pension-like income that you utilized from what you were contributing to. Now we're setting them up on a guarantee basis, so you're not just withdrawing whether the market's up, market's down, we need this much this month, we'll take a trip next month. This way, it's very precise withdrawal order, still having other funds to draw when you're taking the vacation and Christmas time, and as bumps in the road happen, whether it's with your health or some updates on a home or auto. But we can use vehicles specifically through like an indexing annuity to create a guaranteed income that increases, because inflation is so huge right now. We need to have something that can increase with inflation and be able to pay you a monthly benefit to sustain you. So it's utilizing some of your retirement assets to carve out that income. Now, what your dollar amount might be, that we don't know. You need to reach out to the team here at McIntosh and Associates or go to our website at wealthmichigan.com so we can have a visit with you directly to see how much do we need to have in guaranteed income every month. Have you already saved enough to do so, and can you retire now? Or what does that projection look like? And let's make some adjustments, should we need to get you on the right track.
And, of course, that number to chat with the team at McIntosh and Associates, 877-222-8849, 877-222-8849. And, Nolan, I would think, because you guys can help people in the world of investments, the Wall Street world, but also in the insurance world, as Mindy was talking about, and you can create different things using different tools depending on whom you're sitting down with and what tools make sense. But when it comes to, say, the markets get really bumpy, and let's say that we're planning on pulling money from our market portfolio, but then the markets go down, that would be a great time to have money sitting over on the safer side where the markets go, okay, we're going to take a break on that side. We'll let that kind of settle and come back, and we're going to go to a different bucket. Is that a feasible idea?
100%. I mean, I think it makes sense. That's why we want to have that holistic plan set up so that way we can have different strategies and withdrawal orders that can make a significant difference. And we're not talking nickels and pennies. We're talking thousands of dollars that we could make a difference just on withdrawal orders on what we're looking at. So I think people are amazed that a simple tool that we can use that can show them that obviously a withdrawal order just makes a big difference. So yeah, I mean, that's one of the things. And then we have also, we've been talking about it as, the bonds in the market world, or there's some alternative investments we can look at. We call them alternative bond investments instead of just riding the wave of down, because interest rates probably going to go up. Inflation is continuing to rise significantly, so it's kind of a wildfire right now. As they continue to rise, we're going to continue to see interest rates rise. So there's some bond alternative ideas. So some people are like, I don't want to be risky, I want to be more conservative. We can satisfy that need by still having some market accounts and maybe doing some bond alternatives. And so it's a very big key that when we sit down with clients, we just have to look at it from an individualized standpoint and what are their needs. That sounds like something that you guys are out there listening to and saying, well, that's easy. Well, there's some other things that we can go through that can help with some of these things. So 877-222-8849, very simple chat that we can have to give some of those ideas in retirement to help just even with withdrawal orders.
Hey, Nolan, final minute of this segment. We'll talk more about some of these big topics in retirement when we come back. Explain, though, why you would even look for bond alternatives. What happens when interest rates rise?
Yeah, so it's a teeter. I like to use the teeter-totter effect. So if you remember teeter-totter when you're a kid, as the inflation and, obviously out of control, and the government's obviously saying we're going to raise interest rates. And so when interest rates rise, right, so when the teeter-totter end goes up, what happens to the other side? Well, it goes down. Well, that's what happened with bond prices. A lot of people don't understand that, bonds are traded in a secondary market most of the time. And so when the interest rates rise and the bond decreases its price, obviously the value of that bond goes down. And so obviously with the current environment, we know that they're going to probably continue to raise interest rates probably for the next maybe even 2 years. And so I think the writing's on the wall with the bonds. And so, bond alternatives are a very, very, very good idea right now because I don't think it's going to stop anytime soon.
877-222-8849, 877-222-8849. So we know retirement starts with income. You can't retire without it. But the other two big topics, healthcare, taxes. We're going there next. Stay with us. This is Wealth Michigan with Mindy and Nolan. Back right after this.
If you're close to retirement, you probably hear about Medicare all the time. When to sign up, how to sign up, what your options are. But have you heard how you might be able to lower your future Medicare costs with proper planning before you retire? It's true. The McIntosh and Associates team can show you how. It's not for everyone, but you could potentially save in future Medicare premiums. See if this strategy could work for you. Call McIntosh and Associates now to set up your visit to start working on your plan. 877-222-8849. That's 877-222-8849. If you want to pay the lowest price for your future Medicare coverage, start planning today. Set up your visit now with the McIntosh and Associates team. Call 877-222-8849. Firm offers insurance services and is not affiliated with the U.S. government. Investment advisory services offered only by duly registered individuals through AE Wealth Management, LLC.
Schedule your complimentary first visit with the Macintoshes right now. Call 877-222-8849. That's 877-222-8849.
Welcome back to Wealth Michigan with the Macintoshes, Mindy and Nolan. I'm Mark Elliott. Obviously, we're talking retirement. That's what the team at McIntosh and Associates is all about, is to help you come up with that plan and that strategy moving forward. Income, investment, taxes, health care, legacy, estate planning, Social Security's in the income part, Medicare's in the healthcare part. There's a lot of moving pieces here. How do we figure it all out? Mindy and Nolan here to help. It's 877-222-8849. If you'd like to get a little clarity into your situation, 877-222-8849. Of course, you can always go to the website to learn more, wealthmichigan.com. Now, during the break, Mindy, you were saying, well, you didn't even let me talk about the Slinkies, so I cannot avoid that.
No. You know, people come in and they're wondering, why is there this Slinky sitting over on one of the side tables in the meeting rooms for our visits? And it's kind of funny. They'll think, you know, hey, was one of their daughters here? Did somebody, one of the folks that were in the office bring in one of their grandchildren or something? And what we've been showing is, as Nolan's talking about, you know, this bond review, or, you know, we talk a lot about tax harvesting right now. We talk about, yes, we realize the market is down right now, so we show the Slinky effect. I wish I could give all of you this visual. So we show how the market is down some right now. Then from there, we show, gosh, what if this is all pre-tax money and we can afford to still fill up the rest of your tax bracket this year within taxes? Let's move over some of these IRA dollars should the situation work for you. So we move the Slinky sideways and we move that into a tax-free Roth account or some other tax-free opportunities, even with some indexing life sometimes. But we move it to the tax-free chassis. And then that way, if it's in the market, they can wait for the market to correct itself. And guess what? That rebound is all tax-free and the growth is all tax-free. So we talk about that a lot, whether it's for a tax harvesting or even just if folks have too much risk in the market. We just had folks in here, they still had 98% of their portfolio at risk in the market, and they're getting ready to retire within less than 1 year. We know they're going to be using some of that money for income right away. So again, the Slinky effect, a portion of the market that's down, we move a percentage of their account into safety to create that guaranteed income for retirement. So that Slinky effect can work in a couple different ways, and it really helps folks to have a visual of, gosh, that actually does make sense instead of using all this financial lingo. So no more is the Slinky just for children, Mark. I'm telling you, we all can utilize it.
Absolutely, and it's an easy visual. I like the idea, no question about it. Now, we're talking about some of the really big topics of retirement when it comes to retirement planning and things that we cannot overlook. And obviously, we don't overlook income because we understand we need to replace the paychecks that are no longer coming in. And if we can get a paycheck like we had in work, we know Social Security is basically, when we start it's going to come in every month. But we were getting paid twice a month. Maybe we set up something else that pays us twice a month. But it's really about recreating income, and how do you do that? Mindy and Nolan certainly can help you do that. But everybody's situation is different. Everybody has different income needs. 877-222-8849. You want to see those Slinkies in action. 877-222-8849. Now, Mindy, I'm going to go with you on this one, healthcare. Income, healthcare, long-term care. And the stats are out that 70% of us need some form of long-term care. And it doesn't mean we're all going to be in a facility, a nursing home for 2 or 3 years or anything like that. It just means maybe you're going to be at home and you need some help. So there's a lot of variations here. Let's talk about healthcare. Fidelity says that the average 65-year-old healthy couple through the end of their life will need over $300,000 to pay for healthcare. Part B premiums and all kinds of things and all those little odds and ends. And that it does not include long-term care either. Mm-hmm. And that number, just so you know, in 2014, 2015 timeframe, Fidelity said the average 65-year-old couple needed $220,000. So it's up almost $100,000 in that 8-year period. How do you plan for that? Because you don't know if people are going to need health care or not. Can't we just hope that it doesn't happen?
Well, we can. We still can do that, right? So hope is a big word that can go a long ways. However, when it comes to taking a look at the increased cost of healthcare throughout retirement, not to mention just our health changes, our needs change, the pharmaceuticals, seem to cost a lot. And yes, if you're a married couple and one of you needs some sort of long-term care, assisted living, or in-home care, boy, we don't want you to have the burden on the financial side. It's tough enough on the medical side of things, or even we're seeing a little bit more dementia and those type of things that have been occurring and brought to our attention. So it depends on your situation, right? So as we look at healthcare itself, yes, we realize Medicare Part B is going up. Premiums can change. We're helping a lot of folks pick their own healthcare plan here in Medicare plan because they don't have it provided as a retiree benefit. But if you're also worried about not only the cost of your traditional healthcare plan and the copays and surgery costs and prescription costs, there is a way that we can actually make sure we're using a portion of what you save for retirement to hedge the increased cost, or the hit we call it, of the healthcare costs inside of retirement years. So we earmarked a portion of your assets to use within a particular withdrawal order, earmarked specifically for healthcare. And if you happen to have some sort of health savings account or HSA, wonderful. We'll incorporate that into the plan as well. But if you don't, we're going to utilize your assets for that. And to go a step further, depending on how much of your savings you're going to be using, we use a lot of asset-based long-term care help here, where we can utilize an income formula to pay for healthcare costs for you, and also have more of like a whole life long-term care. So that way you're not paying a premium for something that you hope you don't need. If you need to utilize it, it's there for you. It's protected and it's safe. And you don't have to worry about the rate going up in that position. They're not going to cancel you once you're approved. So it helps to earmark some of your assets for that and give you that peace of mind. If you use it, you do. If you don't, then that's going to be passing on to your spouse or your other loved ones. So if you're wanting to walk through that map with us and look at that focus, please reach out to us here at 877-222-8849. Healthcare can get confusing. We realize that, especially when it comes a time for you to purchase a plan and make changes, there's lots of alphabet soup and calls and materials, and we can kind of cut through that clutter for you.
Yeah, the old long-term care policies were use it or lose it. Well, we don't want to do that anymore. So there are a lot of options out there. What you don't know, you don't know. Mindy and Nolan can walk you through all of this, the health care, the long-term care, the Medicare, what decisions, how do we do it? I think it's a great thing to sit down with somebody that actually understands this world, don't you? Yes. 877-222-8849, again, is the number, 877-222-8849. A little over 3 minutes left. Nolan, I think that's plenty of time to talk about taxes. My grandparents had no issue with taxes. Their taxes were going to go down in retirement because they did not retire with IRAs and 401ks. Today's retirees are dealing with those tax-deferred tools in their retirement toolbox, and that's causing an issue for some in the tax environment, isn't it?
Oh, 100%. I mean, it's, I kind of talked about it a little bit earlier segments, but if you have a lot of stuff in pre-tax, that's not all yours. And so, let's say we're, in the 22% tax bracket, which is probably going to change in the near future here. And then you still have, for a resident of Michigan, 4.25 state. Let's not forget that, right? So 22 plus 4.25, last time I checked, that's over a quarter of what your income is going to be taken out in taxes. So that's a challenge, right? You need $1,000 a month, okay? You don't get to take $1,000 out, right? Because that only is going to be $750 if we're talking, generalities. So that means we need to take, obviously, a significant portion more just to get out there. And that's why we get into some trouble, right? Is because, you planned on needing $1,000 a month, but now you forgot about the taxation of that. And now we need to draw off more. Well, that's going to dwindle the asset a little bit quicker. And if we're going to live longer, like most are these days, you might run out of money. So how do we create some of that income plan a steady income plan to make sure that, number one, that we don't run out on taxes. Now, the second thing is what if we're drawing from a tax-deferred account that's in the market, particularly in the current time? So now we have taxes to deal with. Now we have to look at a dwindling asset possibly because of the market conditions. So that is the key, is making sure that we control as many variables as we can to make sure that there's not an issue with running out of money. We try and be as honest as we can with our clients because we don't want them to have surprises, whether it's good or bad news. We don't want any surprises That's why we always kind of look at things from that perspective of income always comes from an income source that's guaranteed, and your wants come from usually your investments, so your vacations, your cars, your houses, second houses, things of that nature. That comes from your wants, and so that comes from your investment bucket. So that's how we try and separate those two entities. So that way we know, worst case scenario, if something happened, at least your daily needs are met by that income stream. So 877-222-8849. Walk through that with you, and like I said, figure out that tax bill.
So you think about it, the 2017 tax jobs, whatever it was, who cares? It went into play. The tax law, right, went into play in 2018. It ends in 2025. 2026 we go back to, unless Congress does something different, but it's set up to end in 2025. We're in the lowest tax rate environment that we will probably ever see in the rest of our lives. That in 2026 goes back to 17 rates and brackets, which means the brackets get closer, but they also get higher. So there's a lot of moving parts here, and you think about it. You've got $1 million in IRAs and 401ks. That is phenomenal. It's not all yours. Uncle Sam is your partner. So the idea is, how do you handle that? How do you take care of your 401ks and IRAs that are tax deferred? Do you wait till 72 when the government says, hey, I want part of that harvest you've got now? Or do you actually try to take some of that money off the table and go to the Roth world, pay taxes now? It doesn't make sense for everybody. It does make sense for a lot of you. But Nolan and Mindy don't know until you reach out. 877-222-8849 again is the number. No cost, no obligation to chat with the team. They're here to help if they can. 877-222-8849. Back with our final segment of Wealth Michigan with the McIntoshes right after this.
To learn more about the team at McIntosh & Associates, check out their website anytime at wealthmichigan.com.
Welcome back to Wealth Michigan with the McIntoshes, Mindy and Nolan. I'm Mark Elliott. You can always find out more on the website, wealthmichigan.com, wealthmichigan.com. Mindy and Nolan help you create your dream-focused wealth plan. wealthmichigan.com to learn more about Mindy and Nolan and the team. There's some great information on the website. You can always give them a call at 877-222-8849. Mindy, where are we going? We got a short final segment every week on this program. And last week, Nolan, we were talking about physical fitness for old people like me. And now I've started riding a bike, so I'm buying into what Nolan is saying. Yes, absolutely. My rear is very sore from that stupid little seat, but I'm doing it. I'm doing it.
That's right.
So where are you going to go, Mindy, this week?
This week, I'm going to talk about, could your tax bill in retirement be too big? Well, what does that mean? If you want to know, you can even go to what's called our potential tax bill calculator. It's right on our website at wealthmichigan.com. And what do I mean by this? Well, as most of you have saved for your retirement in an IRA, 401k, or other tax-deferred vehicle, then you have a tax bill due in retirement. And that's because you decided to defer your tax bill into the future. But do you know the size of that? And that's where I want to help you discover options, unfold, what that calculator looks like, and the website will give you immediate access to see that tax bill. And taxes sometimes are considered the biggest, least understood retirement risk that many savers face. Most people are told, go to work, get a good job, contribute into your investment, hopefully they match for you. And they don't talk about this bubble or this balloon effect that's happening for your taxes later. So you as listeners, you may be hearing more and more about taxes this year. Well, why might this be? Nolan talked earlier about legislative risk and how does that impact taxes in retirement? And, well, gosh, Mindy, what is this retirement tax bill anyways? Well, let's talk about factors that impact the size of your saver's retirement bill. So let's say that you retire with $500,000, $1 million, so on and so forth. Well, let's say 20 to 30 to 40% of that is not yours. That is money you still need to pay in taxes. And how can we help you gauge how big your own retirement tax bill might be? And it's so important for us to understand taxes in retirement and to realize that some of the things that you've heard, only withdraw 4%, or if I save X amount of, additional to my salary for the number of years I'm going to retire. Well, that all changes depending on what your actual retirement tax bill is going to look like. So because I want to help you walk through this approach to how to reduce your tax bill in retirement, now would be the time we could just schedule a 15-minute visit to discuss your retirement tax bill, some adjustments that we can make now. And I'm telling you, we'd be very excited to help you prepare for this. You can reach out to us via the website at wealthmichigan.com, stop by our office here, or call 877-222-8849. And I think you'd be very surprised at what you learn with this tax bill and your rate.
So, Nolan, would you say it's probably maybe the right assumption? And we know what people say about assumptions, but do you think it's the right assumption that this is probably the lowest tax environment that we'll be in for the rest of our lives?
Yes. Yes. I mean, it's been the lowest tax rate we've seen almost in history. So it's one of those things that we will not see tax rates the same that we are. Number one, because of the standardized deduction that we have currently in the tax law that goes away, and then obviously the brackets themselves. So even if they didn't change brackets, they lowered obviously, standard deduction, then obviously there's more taxable income there. So I think this is obviously a perfect time. A lot of people are like, oh, I'll wait till 2026 and see what happens. Why? Why would you want to see what happens? It could be, again, we're not talking nickels and dimes. We're talking hundreds of thousands of dollars possibly for people that we can just, by a tax plan, save them money. And I think that's a huge difference on what you get to keep for not only you while you're alive, but also for your beneficiaries when you're gone. And a lot of people don't understand there's new rules. New rules. If we have not kept up on the new rules, Mindy and I have, but if you have not kept up on the new rules, your beneficiaries that you work so hard for are not going to get the amount of money that you thought they would get just based on, just taxes. So 877-222-8849, very, very simple tool on our website, wealthmichigan.com. Again, it takes about 15 minutes to figure out what your possible tax liability, I call it penalty, could be if we have pre-tax dollars.
McIntosh & Associates Incorporated is an independent financial services firm that utilizes a variety of investment and insurance products. Investment advisory services offered only by duly registered individuals through AE Wealth Management, LLC, AEWM. AEWM and McIntosh & Associates Incorporated are not affiliated companies. Investing involves risk, including the potential loss of principal. Any references to protection, safety, or lifetime income generally refer to fixed insurance products, never securities or investments. Insurance guarantees are backed by the financial strength and claims-paying abilities of the issuing carrier. This radio show is intended for informational purposes only. It is not intended to be used as the sole basis for financial decisions, nor should it be construed as advice designed to meet the particular needs of an individual's situation. McIntosh & Associates Incorporated is not permitted to offer, and no statement made during the show shall constitute tax or legal advice. Our firm is not affiliated with or endorsed by the U.S. government or any governmental agency. The information and opinions contained herein provided by third parties have been obtained from sources believed to be reliable, but accuracy and completeness cannot be guaranteed by McIntosh & Associates Incorporated.